everyone, I'm Lori and welcome to today's class. Today's class is focused on postures that will help stretch the lower back, all the muscles around the hips, the hamstrings, and also help alleviate any pain that you might have if you suffer from sciatica. We're going to hold postures for 1 minute, and once we get in each posture, we want to focus on our breath and bring our thoughts to happy thoughts, to something that we can think of that we're grateful for, because we're here, we're on our mats, and there's always something that we can be grateful for. So we're turning our thoughts into positive ones, thinking about our breath, making sure our breath is slow, steady, and controlled. And with a repetitive habit of doing that, you'll start to see internal change and just a happier way of living your life, along with alleviating any pain that you might have from sciatica and just better range of motion. So it's a win-win all around. Okay, so for this class, you might want a strap. So you might grab your strap. You can use a towel or anything that you could use in replace of a strap if you don't happen to have a yoga strap. I don't think you're gonna need a block, but if you have one handy, just have it right close by so that if you do need it, you can grab it and use it. So our first posture today is we're going to roll back onto our backs and bring our thighs into our belly and wrap our arms around our shins. And let me set the timer. And just bring our thighs in close to our rib cage and start to relax. Let the shoulders roll back towards the floor. Start your breath practice of inhales and exhales through your nose. Just close your eyes. And think about what you are grateful for. It can be anything, any place, any person, any feeling, or just the fact that you're here on your mat practicing, that you have the body, that you can be here stretching. One more inhale. And exhale, we will lower our left foot down to the mat. Place our right foot or our right ankle on top of your left thigh. So we're going to do reclined pigeon right now, or thread the needle. So we're going to take our right hand and place it between the legs and lift your left foot off the mat. Both hands will clasp outside of your left shin or behind your left thigh. You're going to pull that left thigh in towards your belly, and you'll start to feel the stretch in the right hamstring, the glutes, and maybe even the outer hip. So with your right hand between your legs, maybe use the elbow to push that right knee away from you as you're pulling the left thigh in. Okay? So we've got 1 minute here. How do I turn this volume off? There. Okay. Settling in. You don't want to pull too hard, pulling that left leg in. So you don't want it to be painful. You just want to feel a nice stretch on the right hip, the right hamstring, the right glute. You want the entire spine just to rest into the mat or the floor. Slow, steady breath both in and out of the nose. We're already at one more inhale. And exhale, we'll lower the left foot back down to the mat. Now I have to scoot over. So from here, we want to get a nice twist for our lower back. So we're going to keep our left foot right where it is, and you just want to make sure that the heel is in line with your left sitting bone, okay? Keep the left foot right there. Just roll to the outer edge of the left foot and lower the right foot down to the floor. Now, if it doesn't reach the floor, that's where you might use a yoga block or any kind of prop to place your foot on top of. And then you're going to relax and settle in for 1 minute. So when you're here, along with focusing on your breath practice and that for which you're grateful for, you want to notice or allow that left leg to just rest onto your mat or the floor. And then gently allowing that right hip to get heavy. Just let gravity and the weight of your body do the work here. And then ever so gently, it's more of a suggestion than an actual movement and pull, but think about drawing your right hip or the right sitting bone towards your left heel. So you might even take your left thumb right into that hip socket, right where your thigh meets your hip, and just push it gently, just a tiny little bit, downwards towards your left foot. And you'll just notice the nicer, bigger stretch in the rib cage and in the hip. You've got one more inhale. And exhale, slowly coming back up to center. And then both legs back into your belly one more time, just for an inhale and an exhale. And then right foot down to the mat, left foot or ankle on top of your right thigh. So we're gonna do reclining pigeon or thread the needle. So we're gonna lift the right foot and place the left hand between the legs. Clasp the hands either outside of your right shin or behind your left thigh. And again, you're pulling it in, pulling your right leg in towards your belly. Maybe use your right or your left elbow to push that left knee out. Allowing the entire spine to rest into the mat or the floor. Slow, steady, controlled inhales and exhales, just to get the body and the mind relaxed and getting a nice gentle stretch. And then just one more inhale. And exhale, lower the right foot back down to the mat. Now you want to make sure, I just have to scoot over because I have a little tiny space here. So you want to make sure that your right heel is in line with your right hip or the right sitting bone. And then without moving your foot, just roll to the outer edge of the right foot to lower the left foot down to your mat or the floor. And again, if it doesn't reach the floor, you're going to use a block or a book, whatever you need to use to place your left foot onto. Okay, and then our minute starts here. You can also grab on to your left foot with your right hand if that's helpful. Allow the right leg just to rest into the mat. And then again, you're just allowing gravity and the weight of your left hip just to let it sink down. So it's really just about getting peaceful and calm and steady and allowing this gentle stretch just to happen nice and natural. So there should never be anything painful. So if it's painful with your foot on the mat, you definitely want to put a block or a prop underneath your left foot, because you want to work your way up to getting your foot on the floor. And if it's not there, use a prop, because if there's pain, that's not good. So everything in baby steps. We're trying to avoid pain and injury. Oh, one more inhale. And exhale, rolling back up to center. Both legs into your belly for just an inhale and exhale. Then we're gonna roll all the way up to seated. And we're gonna, actually, you know what, we're gonna lay back down. I apologize. Let's lay back down. And you can keep your left leg bent, but let's take your right thigh in towards your belly. You can actually keep your left leg bent or straighten it, but we're gonna take our right knee towards our right shoulder. Just pull that in. Just make sure that your right heel is in line with your right hip so that your leg is straight, and feel that kind of flexion in the right hip. And again, if you want to straighten that left leg, you can do that too. We'll give it one more inhale. And we're going to bring the knee back up, taking the thigh away from the belly. We're going to take our left hand outside of our right thigh and turn that right thigh just inward so that the knee is in the direction of your left shoulder now. And just draw it in towards your left shoulder. Now, my adduction is internal rotation is not as good as my outward rotation. So this one, I'm not going to get very far. So this is about it for me. And just keep drawing it towards the left shoulder and in towards your belly. Just 2 more breaths. One more inhale. And exhale, slowly release the right foot back down to your mat. Lift the left leg. And we're going to draw your left knee towards your left shoulder now. You just want to keep the leg straight. So just make sure that the heel is in line with the hip and the sitting bone. And you're not drawing the knee outward, it's just straight. So the knee and your shin is straight from your shoulder to your hip. And then you can keep the right knee bent or you can straighten it. Two more breaths. One more inhale. And then slowly bringing the thigh away from the belly. We're going to take your left knee now towards your right shoulder. This one is not going like anywhere for me. And then drawing it in towards your belly. That's about it for me today. Two more inhales. One more. And exhale and release both legs in towards your belly this time. Put a little movement to it. And now we're going to roll up to seated. Roll all the way over. We're going to take a child's pose. So you want to take your knees about as wide as your mat and let the toes touch behind. Let the backs of your thighs rest on your heels. And then keep your elbows bent. And in fact, you might want to use a block here underneath your forehead just so that it keeps your spine in a straight line. If you don't feel you want that, you can bring your forehead all the way down to the mat, or maybe just crisscross your forearms and use your forearms as a little pillow. But you want to keep a slight bend in the elbows, so we're not reaching forward, we're just keeping a nice bend in the elbows, and that's so that we're keeping the weights back in our hips and allowing the hips just to get heavy towards our heels. Again, focusing on your breath practice, slow, steady, controlled inhales and exhales through the nose. Just noticing sensation through your body, maybe through the ankles, the knees, the hips. And bringing some intentional focus to that which you're grateful for, keeping a positive mindset. One more inhale. And then slowly walking the hands back and lifting up to tabletop. So now we did reclining pigeon or thread the needle earlier on our back. So now we're gonna do pigeon, traditional pigeon. So from tabletop, we're gonna draw our right knee forward and our right knee outside the right wrist. So you wanna notice that your right thigh is at an angle outside your hip. If you look down and see your thigh directly underneath your belly, so let me see if I can face you and you can see this. I don't have a whole lot of room here, but if you take your right thigh at an angle, if you look down and you see your thigh is underneath your belly, you want to take it out, okay? Because it's a hip opener. All right, so the right knee is outside the right wrist, left leg reaches back. Now this is where you might want a prop. So you can come down to the forearms, and if you notice that you're kind of leaning on the back side of your right hip, you might want to put a prop there, okay? The goal is think about the very center of your left thigh on the mat, and then the very back side, the very center back side of your right thigh on the mat. Now you can have your heel directly underneath the groin, the right heel underneath the groin, or if you have more space, you can start to work your right shin to parallel to the mat. Okay, but it's meant to be a gentle, nice gentle stretch. So just take it to where it feels good. It's a nice gentle stretch to where you can release any tension, any engagement, and just focus on your breath and positive mindset, what you're grateful for, and just relax and bring some peace and calm to this 1 minute while you're here. So if you want to lower down, if you want to place a pillow underneath your belly, if you want to rest on your forearms, just going to whatever level you can go to that feels good. One more inhale. And exhale, slowly coming back up. Walking the hands back, lift up. Scoot the left leg back in, and then scoot the right leg back so that you're back in tabletop. Now if you want to shake things out, if you want to lift that leg, you can do that. You can lift both. We'll take a second before we go to the left side. So now that we're all ready and we're feeling good, again, we're gonna take the left knee outside the left wrist. So you just wanna look down, make sure that your left thigh is not directly underneath your left or the center of your belly. and then reach the right leg back. Again, your left heel can be underneath the groin, or depending on how much space you have, it can be working to be parallel to the top of your mat. Doesn't matter where you go, no one can see you, so just go to where it feels good. And then you'll lower down to as far as you want to lower down. Maybe use a prop. You know, props are really, really, really good to get you in a position where you can relax and allow the stretch just to sort of naturally happen in these weird kind of postures that we go into. You can focus on your breath. You can come to a meditative state. Bring yourself to positive thoughts, and maybe for just a minute in each pose, notice how they feel. Notice how each pose feels. And do a body scan. See if you are engaging. See if you can relax. See if you can let go. See if there's any negative talk that you're telling yourself. And the words that we use towards ourselves are the most important words. Those are the words that stick the most, so make them positive. One more inhale. And exhale, we will slowly come back up, walk the hands back, scoot the right leg forward, scoot the left leg back. So now we're back in tabletop. We're gonna end up back on our back. And this is where we're gonna grab our strap. So on our backs, feet on the mat with your knees bent. You're gonna take a strap, a towel, hand towel, anything that you might be able to use. I'm gonna start with my left foot actually, so I can, left foot up in the air. I gotta scoot all the way over. And then we're gonna straighten the right leg. Put the strap in your right hand. You want your right leg, you want the heel over the hip. Now, if you have to bend your knee, but keep your hip somewhat in line with your hip and not so much like way over here, okay? But if it is, it just means you have tight hamstrings. We're not gonna worry about that so much actually. So if you can get here with a straight leg, with your heel over your hip, great. If not, just be where you are. Strapping your right hand, and then we're rolling the left leg over to the right. I'm gonna use my tricep, the back of my arm, to kind of hold my right leg up, or my left leg up in place. Or if you can bring it all the way down to the floor, you can bring it all the way down to the floor using your strap. So you should be feeling a nice stretch through the whole IT band, outside the left thigh, maybe through the glute and up into the hip or the lower back. One more inhale. And exhale, bringing the left leg back to center. We'll remove the strap and draw both legs in towards your belly. And we're gonna take it to the other side. But I just have to roll over because I don't have enough space to do it the other way. Okay, so lift your right leg and place the strap around the ball of your right foot. Just trying to get the heel in line with the hip with a bent knee or a straight leg. Straighten the left leg, place the strap in your left hand. And again, when I started off on the other side, I might have made it a little bit too severe. If your leg is here and your hamstrings are tight and that's all you can get, just stay there, not a big deal. So the goal is to eventually get to the heel over the hip, okay? Strap in the left hand as high as you can reach, and then take the right foot over to the left. And again, you can use the back of your left arm to hold the leg in place or let the foot go all the way down to the floor. One more inhale. And exhale, lifting the leg back up over the hip. Bend the knee, remove the strap, and we will do our final, most important, and everyone's favorite, Shavasana. I'm just gonna turn the way I like to be. So we're gonna lay on our back and just get super relaxed. Roll the shoulders under. Let the palms face up, let your ankles fall open. And now just let your breath come back to your normal breathing pattern. So completely relaxing here. And maybe notice the weight of your body sinking into your mat. And as you take your final posture to just completely relax, notice if you're engaged or tight or stressed through the neck, and try to just let that go. Through the shoulders. Let the hips get heavy. Release the legs so that the ankles and the legs are completely relaxed, and my ankles splay open. And just allow yourself this final pose to bring in some peace and calm. So if you're feeling stressed and there's thoughts that keep entering into your mind, just allow them to disintegrate, to fall apart like a cloud in the sky. And don't give them a beginning or an end. Just notice that thought and then let it go. Slowly start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Roll the ankles and the wrists. Then one leg at a time, draw your thighs in towards your belly. Wrap your arms around your shins. You can roll a little left and a little right. Starting to put some movement into the legs and the hips. And then eventually we'll roll up to a comfortable seated position. Hands at heart center. Close your eyes. Slightly bow your chin towards your chest. And be thankful and grateful for your body able to practice here on your mat. May you have a great day. Peace and namaste.